You are a dumbass like me. Don't have a fuckboy for a roommate in college. It will ruin your life, especially if they're white and you're POC. It will ruin your... Okay, basically, my freshman year, I moved from the Middle East to here, right? Met this kid, he's a frat boy, did not know what that was. Anyways, he had a girlfriend, her name is Karen. She's 5'4", blonde, extensions, you know the drill, sorority girl, very typical, whatever. She looks like every other bitch in the nicest way possible. I'm gonna get to it. Anyways, her name is Karen. She introduced herself. I introduced myself. She remembered my name. I, however, did not. Because in the Middle East, I'm used to Fatma. I'm used to Khadija. I'm not used to fucking Karen. You know what I mean? So that's a weird name for me. So I would forget her name. And every time I'd meet her, she'd barge in. She'd be like, hey, Adib. I'd be like, hey, Courtney. Fuck. She'd be like, oh, it's actually Karen. I'd be like, I'm so sorry. Whatever. Next time she'd come in, she'd be like, oh, is Max here? I'd be like, oh, Caroline, hey. She'd be like, my name's not Caroline. It's Karen. And I'm like, so sorry. Next time, Chloe. She'd be like, it's Karen. I was like, so sorry. But one time I woke up, right? She was in the room. Max wasn't. I was just like, oh, hey, good morning, whatever. Awkward as fuck, obviously. I'm getting ready for class. And I was just like, oh yeah, and Karen, I remembered your name this time. Karen, can you pass me this? She was like, my name is Coraline, actually. And I was like, really? Didn't you just say yesterday that you were Karen? And she was just like, no, what the fuck? Does he have a girlfriend? And I was just like, aren't you his girlfriend? And she was like, are you fucking serious? She's like, what the fuck? Pulls out her phone. Karen, what the fuck? Are you dating Max? What the fuck? Screaming, right? Not even an hour later, someone's banging at the door. I wear glasses, by the way. I just never wear them. She's banging at the door. I open it again, and I was like, oh, hey. And she's like, where the fuck is he? He comes in, slaps him in the face. She's like, you're cheating on me? What the fuck? What's going on? Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yo, Caroline's pissed. And I was like, oh, excuse me, Caroline. I'm just going to squeeze past you. She goes, it's fucking Karen with an I. And I was like, right. So from now on... I don't mind my business. I moved out. I couldn't do anymore. Fuck that. Do not live with a white fuckboy. It's just, they have a type. It's a clone of one person. Who that person is, probably their mom. Who the fuck knows? I don't know.
Seeing how fat my fiance's mother is has made me reconsider marrying her. I met my fiance's mother earlier this week and she is very obese. It has really made me rethink marrying my fiance. I don't expect her to stay beautiful forever. She will get old, wrinkly and gain some weight, and I'm completely fine with that. If something happened and she became a quadriplegic or was struck with illness, I would stand by her without question. All I ask is that she doesn't get super fat, and I'm worried that she will. I made a mistake in surgery and a baby girl died. Earlier this week I was operating on a baby girl who had a condition I'd rather not share. She was only 1 to 2 weeks old. It is life-threatening and without treatment would almost certainly result in death, especially in her case. It's a fairly rare condition, so I had only ever seen the surgery performed once, in person, before. My attending allowed me to take the lead. I opened her up and assessed. Everything was going as it should, but something went wrong when I was cannulating the aorta. After incising and inserting the cannula, I tightened the purse strings, but the sutures tore through the tissue and she bled out. I managed to recover, but ultimately she had lost too much blood. I have done several aortic cannulations before, but never on a heart this small. After you incise, blood spurts out instantly, so you have to insert the cannula quickly. She was premature and weak, but the bites were improperly spaced and the initial incision was too large. It was my fault and it should have never happened. None of the nurses or assistants knew exactly what occurred, but my attending did. After washing up, he took me aside and told me that her death was my fault and that I had better learn from this and never let it happen again. I had to stand there as he told the parents that there were complications and that she passed away. I saw them break down in tears. That little girl could have had a full life, but I took it away. She should be alive right now, in her parents' arms. I don't know if I'm cut out for this. I keep going over it in my head. I'm honestly not sure if I can forgive myself. I'm a pastor who doesn't believe in God. Here I sit on another Sunday morning. I love the people I minister to. I believe that there are some really good principles in the Bible, and some really awful ones. So I feel okay about the message of love and hope that I get to deliver. I push back against the hate and homophobia and judgmental nature of so much contemporary American Christianity. But I don't believe the underlying myth, and I have to pretend that I do. Overall, I believe I'm doing more good than harm, but there's a dishonesty at the center of it that I have to try to ignore. I'm not economically dependent on ministry work. I work outside the church and do my ministry work on a voluntary basis. I used to get a very small stipend but gave it up a few years ago when I no longer needed it. I wonder all the time whether I am lying, or just withholding, or whether that's a BS distinction. I strive only to say what I believe, but it's a stretch. When I say God is love, I really mean love is God, the highest power. Certainly not Christian orthodoxy. I try hard to teach only what I believe: love, grace, care for others, etc. There are not many other forums where I could deliver that message in the same way. Not an excuse, just a fact. I appreciate the concern of those who feel I'm defiling the faith. I disagree, but humbly. They may be right. I would hate to hurt those who have trusted me. I got a girl deported because we got into an argument. Years ago I was browsing Facebook one day and I saw a girl I went to high school with arguing with some other people. I was browsing through the comments and noticed they were all using some really incorrect terms and had some really bad misconceptions about the topic. I wanted to hop in there really quickly and just clarify the terms they were using and show them what terms they should be using so we could have an informed debate. She got so mad at me and told me that I was trying to discredit her and make her look stupid. She made a Facebook status about me in a long rant and was making some pretty hurtful claims. She then blocked me so that I couldn't respond to the claims. I made a fake account and added her as a friend again and found an old status that she made about how her parents illegally brought her over the border as a child. I submitted the photo of her status to a few government agencies and then finished out the school year and forgot about it. She never came back from summer break and some of her close friends mentioned that she had been deported with her family. I regret doing that because she couldn't speak Spanish because her parents wanted her to live here and truly be an English-speaking American, and now she is in a country that she doesn't know and she can speak the language well or at all.
Am I the asshole for dropping my niece off at a train station after she flushed my medication down the toilet and threw a party at my house? I'm gonna jump out the window here and say, probably not, but let's get to it. I, a 35-year-old female, have a medical condition that I take medication for. I only have my sister, her husband, and my niece as my family. The rest are some deceased and some moved away. My niece, who is 20, has been having issues with her mom and dad after she moved in with them after her boyfriend's death. Her boyfriend died in her arms, which was very traumatic for her. She's struggling, but she and my brother-in-law keep arguing over everything. Last week, my niece called me to ask if she could get on the train and come stay with me for a few days after she had an argument with her dad. I agreed and welcomed her with open arms. I notified my sister that my niece was staying with me. My sister warned me about my niece's mood swings and constant lashing out. I said it was okay. My niece just needed some space since she's been through a lot. Joke's on you. She started behaving strange, yelling at my dogs and leaving dirty plates and cups everywhere. She stays on the internet for long periods of times and throws fits whenever she doesn't like the food I cook. I tried to be graceful and patient, but I found myself cooking and cleaning for her, as well as having to listen to her complain about everything. Days later, she told me she invited a couple of close friends to have a mini party at my house. Problem is, she refused when I said no drinking. I'm an alcoholic in recovery and don't want alcohol in my home. Fair enough. She then said okay. But the day of the party, I got home at 7 and I could smell and see alcohol all over my house. I ended the party and made everybody leave. She yelled at me and said I was being harsh. I told her I already said no drinking at my house. And then an argument ensued, which resulted in her taking my medication and flushing it all down the toilet. Yeah, it's time for her to go. I was livid. I packed her bags for her and drove her to the nearest train station and dropped her off and then drove off. She kept texting me and apologizing, wanting me to come back, but I didn't respond. I told my sister and she got mad at me, saying her friends brought the alcohol, not my niece, and I shouldn't have dropped her off at a train station. We had an argument where she called me irresponsible for how I reacted and said her husband has to move out since my sister cares about her daughter's mental health and won't allow her to suffer. She says it's my fault for not being more patient. Hold on. This took a whole different turn than I thought it was taking. You didn't ask her for no money. What I'm surprised by is that the people who were okay with her leaving in the first place didn't want her back. Your sister is being the asshole. She knows her daughter is terrible and she don't want to deal with her. She's just mad that she got the grenade back in her lap and it blew up her goddamn family. And I understand that daughter has been through a lot, but at some point you cannot excuse the behavior and let it be a license to treat people any type of way and expect them to sit there and take it. That's not fair. Your family should be getting her some help. And if she refuses that help, then it's time for some tough love. Hit that follow button and subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. The links are in the bio. I am Joe Stone. Bye.
I hate my autistic son. I can't help it. My life is constantly terrible. I spend as much time at work as possible. The worst part is that I am supposed to pretend that I am happy about it. When we get together with the other parents and everyone is pretending their kids are as normal as anyone else, they are not. All of us secretly wish they were never born. I would never dare tell my wife this. She is in total denial. Every time he screams or has a breakdown, I just wish he would die. I believe that violence is a lot more common than you think. But my wife and I always control ourselves. I can't stand it though. Why has God done this to me, and why instead of having support are you not supposed to say this? It is terrible, and I did not deserve it, yet I am supposed to pretend life is just great. I stole my student's product idea, which is now my successful business. Back when I was teaching at high school, our department, business related, always had this project where our students will think of a product idea and be manufacturing, small scale, it to sell to the other students. I came across this product idea of a snack that looked really good in my mind. The group of students explained it really well, so I saw that they really wanted it to be approved. Moments later, I found myself emailing the department to change the mechanics of the product conceptualization. I argued that it was a time for a little twist. Then I informed the group that they needed to change the products because the department wanted that all the products should be non-food. They were disheartened, but agreed. Fast forward to 10 years later, I now own a successful enterprise selling the same product. I don't know if they forgot about it, but no one has emailed me yet. I feel guilty at times, but yeah.